Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Ship and Read. Today I'll be doing yet another reading vlog. Before I get started, if you are new to the channel, please don't hesitate to subscribe down below as well as the notification bell. But I'm excited to jump into another weekend reading vlog. I'm starting this, well, technically it's Thursday night, but I'm going to do this from Friday to Sunday. But the point of this video is for me to catch up on my reads because I feel like I haven't been doing the best in terms of reading these months. So the goal for my video is just to catch up on my reading essentially. So I have 3 books that I'm going to try to finish this weekend. We'll see how this goes. To be quite honest, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to stick with this, but we'll see. The first book that I'm going to pick up is Wings of Ebony. This is a book I just started. I am now on page 29, so I really haven't made too much of a progress, but the thing is I'm not entirely engaged with this book as of yet. It basically follows a girl, her name is Rue, where something happened like a year ago. Something happened to her mom passed away, and she's basically taken by her father to this like magical world called like Gizon or something like that, or Gizon, and she is seen as a crime there because being half human and half god is a crime there, and she's trying to figure out her magic abilities, all that stuff. But the way how the book started is her re-entering back into the human world a year later to visit her sister, and her sister was not brought with her father because they have different fathers. So her sister is fully human, and something happens to her sister and it's like forbidden to touch a human. I don't know why that's the case, but the reason why I'm not super engaged with this book is because the way how the book started, there's no backstory. I feel like you're just thrust into this like chaotic scene of her entering this human world and something happening to her sister, and she's like, oh my god, I touch her, whatever, and now we're kind of getting flashbacks of what happened a year ago. Like, it's just very confusing like how the book is written. So we'll see how this goes. I plan to continue on the book for now and then just see how it pans out, but as of right now I'm not entirely loving it, so we'll see. But the other book I'm going to try to pick up is This Poison Heart by Kaylin Bayron. This is a book that I picked for my February TBR. So these are the last 2 books I want to read for February, so once I get these 2 done I'll be very happy, since this is the last weekend of February, which is why I'm trying to just get my reading done. I don't know what this book is about. It's something to do with poison and this girl going to New York or something, and she's now able to practice her magic to learn to control it, something like that. And there's supposed to be like an LGBTQ plus like romance in here, but I have mixed feelings with this book because I didn't like her previous book, Cinderella's Dead. So we'll see. Clearly I feel like the 2 books I have right now are just not the greatest enticing books, so I don't know. But the 3rd book that I want to pick up is A Devouring Grey by Kristen Lynn Herman. This is a book that I did read a couple years ago. I'm doing a reread because I want to finish off the series. So this is the last and final series I'm trying to finish for the series vlog, which I'm doing another series vlog. I'll link that video above and down below, which I'm also like concurrently filming at the same time. So we'll see how that goes. I'm trying to just reread it because I don't remember what happened in the series, but I remember enjoying it enough for me to continue on. So at the end of the day, to be quite honest, I feel like my reading plans for this weekend is not the greatest. I was looking like a total mess, but I've just been dealing with so much these days. Like, one of them was food poisoning, so you can just see like how much of a wreck I am. And yeah, I just feel like my body right now has just been not the greatest. I've just been recovering, so I'm hoping that this week can just be really focused on reading. I do know that Saturday I have 2 movies playing with my boyfriend, and we're going to do like back-to-back showing, so I'm excited because I haven't done that in a very long time. But after that and before that, I plan to read and just read a lot. That's kind of the goal for this weekend. So those are my 3 picks, but like now that I'm kind of thinking about it, I'm like, should I pick another book that I can fall back on if I end up not liking any of these 3? Because I feel like, I don't know, like 2 of the books I'm very iffy about, just because one of them I started already. I had really high expectations, but it's not the greatest so far. The other one, I didn't like the author's other book, so I'm like, basically she's a second chance author. And then the 3rd book is one that I am interested in, but I don't know, like I think like ever since then there's been some like controversy about the author, and I just like don't know anymore. But here's hoping that I will have a fantastic reading this weekend and I will be able to finish lots of books. Apologies in advance if I'm talking kind of soft because I'm actually at my boyfriend's place right now and it is Friday morning. I'm technically also working, but I thought I'd just take a break right now and let you guys know like what I've been doing for my reading and whatnot, because I have been reading and it's not going the best, I have to admit. But I did continue to read Wings of Ebony. I am now on page 58. So I've made some progress since yesterday, but honestly, it's just like an okay read. I feel very confused with what's happening. I feel like there's also flashbacks right now with the past and then with the present day, and it's like alternating chapters. But I feel like the issue with me is that even though it's chapters that's kind of different, and that's what they do, the flashbacks, for some reason, it is confusing. I feel like there's no like mentioning that it's present day until you read a couple of sentences and you're like, wait, I think this is like present day or something like that. So it's definitely very confusing, but you get all these flashbacks right now with like what it was like when she first came into Gizoni or Gizon, and how she was treated there. And then now all of a sudden you're back into present day where she's captured for touching a human, aka her sister, because she was trying to save her sister's life. So there's a lot of like back and forth, and I don't really understand kind of what's the purpose of this back and forth right now, because sure, it gives us some insight on what it was like when she first got there, but I personally don't think it's super necessary about it. So I'd rather kind of just have a linear like context and be like, okay, this is what's happening right now, and now she's captured, what's going on, what's going to happen to her, etc., etc., instead of like, you know, each chapter just ending kind of abruptly and then you're suddenly in the past or you're suddenly in the present day and you're just like whiplash. So that's kind of my main issue with this book right now. In addition, I do feel like for some reason, I don't think I mentioned this, but for the longest time I thought Rue was actually a dude. Like the entire like first couple chapters when I first started it, she gave off such like masculine energy that I thought it was a guy's perspective. Like I was just reading from a guy's perspective and he was trying to save his sister and yada yada. But then it wasn't until I read the synopsis later that I was like, okay, let me look at the synopsis quickly and see what this book is about. And then I was like, her. And I was like, wait, Rue's a female? Like I didn't even know her name actually, because it's all first person. So unless someone addresses her, I didn't even know like what her name was for the first like chapter or two. So for me, I just thought it was from a dude perspective the entire time until I saw the synopsis and I was like, oh. And then that's also when I got her name too, because it mentioned Rue, and I was like, okay, it makes sense. But I don't know why, but for some reason I just feel like the book, she definitely gives off very masculine energy, and it's not like a bad thing or anything like that. It's just something I've noticed and just wanted to mention. But that's what I can say for now. It's an okay book. I really don't know if I want to continue on with it. It's definitely not the most engaging and it's not the most riveting book out there, so we'll see. I also picked up a fourth book last night because I was like very skeptical about all the books I picked up, but I'm gonna pick up Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. That's the fourth book that I just brought with me. I don't really anticipate getting into it unless I happen to DNF the book I planned to read originally. So that's my plan for now, is to get through this book over here. This is my first most important book, and then after that the second one will be The Poison Heart, because those are the ones from my February TBR that I just really want to get through. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm very tired and I'm trying to, at least it's a Friday, so I feel like Fridays are usually very chill, but I do have a couple of meetings this afternoon, so I need to like get on with that. I cannot wait for this day to be over already, like, or at least the work day to be over, and then I can just relax, because I just want to like sit and like watch my show and read and enjoy life. Like I don't know why, but I'm not in the mood to work today, so okay, so I'm actually just in the bedroom now, and I'm probably going to end up sleeping or just resting for the rest of the night. But I did want to give you guys an update on my reading, because I'm now on page 188. So I definitely made a lot of progress on this book. I'm about halfway through. I was actually debating about DNFing it because I just felt like the characters were kind of boring and the plot was boring and the transitions were just wacky for me. Like it was just very abrupt. I didn't like it. But then I got to a certain point that I was like, you know what, these are kind of picking up right now and I might as well just continue on and see what happens. So that's where I'm at right now. I think I'm going to continue reading for at least another half hour or so before I actually go to bed. But this will be my last update before I go to sleep, because I am freaking tired. It is actually already midnight. I just finished watching an episode of Extraordinary Woo Young-woo, which is so freaking good. It's one of those like slow TV show where every episode is a different case, so you don't feel like the need to, you know, watch it all at once, because there isn't a lot from the previous episodes that you have to remember continuously, so like constantly. So it's an easy show to just like watch whenever you feel like it, and my boyfriend and I have just been watching that show for the past couple months. So it's like every time we feel like watching it, we'll watch an episode, and now we're finally at the end. So I'm hoping we finish it like tomorrow or this weekend, because like I just kind of want to be over with by this point. But it was really cute, and yeah, anyways, back to the book. It's good so far now. It's definitely picking up, so we'll see how this goes. My biggest issue right now is I feel like Rue, I don't know why, but I'm not a big fan of her. I feel like the way how she presents herself is just very like antagonistic, and she's very like combative, like constantly, and I'm just like, what is happening? And part of it I totally understand, like, you know, Chancellor, her sister, they want her dead, like all that stuff I totally understand. But then there's a lot of stuff that like, even with other people, that I'm just like, she just seems very like intense for no reason. And even her best friend, like Bree, like when she first met her, she didn't even know who she is, but she's already kind of like was very combative to her right from the beginning. But then she felt kind of bad because she's like, well, this girl's actually really nice to me, and I guess I should be nice to her. And so they end up becoming best friends. But I'm just like, why do you have this mentality of like being so like aggressive all the time? I don't know, like I'm not the biggest fan of her. I find her very snarky at times too, and like for some reason I feel like she has that kind of like mentality where she feels like she's above everyone else, and therefore she can do whatever she wants. And I don't like that kind of like attitude. I'm like, you're not better than everyone else. There are rules in place for a reason. I don't know why you feel like you are somehow the exception to the rules. And there's things that she does because she's like, I don't know, like I am not a big fan of that mentality, and I feel like she definitely presents that and is represented that way, and it just like aggravates me a lot. But I'm going back to reading, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, guys. It is now Saturday morning, and it's pretty early right now. It's only 9:30, but I got up because I couldn't sleep anymore, even though I'm still very freaking tired. But it is what it is. I did read a little bit last night, and I'm now on page 260, so definitely made some progress. Honestly, I feel like there's this one scene right now where I'm just like frustrated with both characters. So Rue is the main character, and she's a best friend named Bree, and Bree is a Gazoni. I don't know if I mentioned her already, but she's a Gazoni. She's lived her entire life, grew up with, you know, the Chancellor, and under this whole like world where she has magic, and everything she's known has been her truth her entire life. And Rue right now just found out about something crazy, and I'm not going to go into details because spoilers, but now she has to break the news to Bree that everything that she's known is a lie. And what pisses me off right now is Rue's like, I just find her so ridiculous in her expectations, because she just broke the news to Bree, and for some reason, I don't know what Rue was expecting, but she was expecting Bree to like completely just believe everything that she says, and is like wants her to be on her side, like all that stuff. And like part of me, I'm like, I get it, you want her to understand the truth because this is now the actual truth and you unearthed it, which is great, good to know. But why? I just feel like she had like unrealistic expectations, because Bree grew up in a society where, you know, she knew this one truth her entire life, and now you're telling her that everything she knows is a lie. Everything she worked for, everything she believes in, like everything, all of that is a lie. And obviously like Bree's like first reaction is gonna be like, are you sure? Like, I can't believe this. Just basically just questioning everything, right? Because like, I mean, if someone tells you that everything you believe in your entire life is a lie, you'll be questioning too, like, are you actually sure about this? Like, if someone told me that we were living in like, I don't know, like in a miniature snow globe where, you know, we are this mini snow globe, and we are actually in some sort of like glass ornaments, and someone's out there, right? Like, I will be like, are you sure? Like, are you sure? Because that seems a little ridiculous. Like, I don't know if I believe that. So for Bree to kind of be like flabbergasted and disbelieving, like, I totally get it. Like, she's freaking out, everything she knows is a lie, and everything she worked for, like her grades, her status in society, like everything she did is like a lie. And Rue's like reaction to Bree being disbelieving and kind of like not like selfish, but also just like shocked that everything that she worked for is a lie. It's like ridiculous, because I don't know what Rue was expecting. Like, it just pisses me off that like Rue is so, I just feel like Rue has very like what is that called when like she expects other people to treat her a certain way but she doesn't give the same back, you know what I mean? I forget what it's called, but there's terminology for it. And I feel like Rue is expecting everyone to just believe her and help her and do all this stuff, and you know, somehow she is like the chosen one trope right now, which I'm also kind of annoyed because I don't really like that trope. But then she doesn't give that back. So like when someone else is on the other hand and is like in shock, she's just like, I can't believe that's what you're saying right now. Like, do you really believe that, you know, this is true? Like, this is my truth. Like, this is the actual truth, you know, like all that stuff. And like, I did this because I was saving my sister. Like, I can't believe you. Like, okay, what Bree said at one point was just like, oh, I wish I didn't, you know, make the watch. And that was kind of like how Rue was able to go into the human world. And so Rue was just like, if you didn't make the watch, then I wouldn't have been able to save my sister. I wouldn't have been able to find out all this information. And like, I kind of get where Bree's coming from, because it's like, if I didn't do this one thing, none of this after effect, not knowing, like sometimes being in ignorance is like, you know, a safer place. I'm not saying it's the right place, but for Bree, like when she's just in a state of shock, like she's kind of like, I wish I didn't know this, you know, like sometimes it's just easier that way. And so that one of the first things she said was just like, oh, if I didn't make the watch. And Rue is just like freaking out. But like, I just feel like she needs to be more empathetic to her best friend, her so-called best friend, because it's like, you just told her some news that literally shook up her entire world, you know. And it's like, you need to give the girl some time to process this. And the fact that she is just immediately just like very aggressive towards Bree, and it's just not letting her like deal with this, it's like this new reality is what pisses me off. So I'm very frustrated with Rue, and I'm just like very annoyed. And I also don't think Bree, like, I don't think she's a bad friend. I do think she's very sheltered and very innocent and naive, so she doesn't understand a lot of the world, especially because she lived this tiny little bubble her entire life, and she's never been to the human world. So for someone like her, like, it makes sense that she's so naive and innocent and sheltered, because she doesn't know anything. She doesn't know any better. And then Rue comes in and she has all this knowledge about the human world, and she has these expectations on like society and everything. So she comes in with very different like upbringing, and I also understand her too, because she's like, I understand like where she's coming from a lot of times, but it's just like, I just feel like Rue does not understand that she has a lot of like worldly knowledge, but others don't. And somehow she always expects people to like act a certain way because of the same expectations in the human world that she has. But these people have never been there. Like, they've always been in this tiny little like island, you know what I mean? So it's like, you can't have the same expectations to these people who don't know any else. They literally have never lived outside of this tiny little society. So it's like, you need to give people a break sometimes. But yeah, anyways, I'm reading that right now, and I'm just very frustrated with Rue for the most part. And I do think Bree's trying. I do think Bree's trying a lot, and she's just trying to like wrap her head around everything. So I'm more on Bree's side, to be honest, than I am on Rue's side. But I also just think that Rue just comes off as very like negative and very aggressive, and not like empathetic or sympathetic at all to anyone else except for herself. And like, at the same time, I totally get where she's coming from too, because I'm like, you're dealing with so many things. Like, someone's after your sister, you know, your sister almost died, your mom died. Like, I totally understand like where she's coming from. I just don't feel like she, at the same time, like, she needs to also have like understanding of people who are also different from her, you know. So it's like, I don't know, especially Bree, who has been with her from day one, like has always been very nice to her, helped her do a lot of things, have literally been her ride or die friend since she went to that tiny little like world. So it's like, I don't know, it's just very frustrating to read about Rue, to be honest. I do not like her as a main character. I mean, I'm only continuing on with this book because I feel like at this point I'm kind of curious to see how it'll end, but I will not be picking up the sequel, I don't think. And right now this is more like a 3-star book. I think this could have been like maybe 3.5, even 4 stars if I didn't dislike the character so much. She just like aggravates me to no end. Everyone else is great though. Like, I like her sister, I like Bree, I like her dad actually. Like, everyone else is like great characters. Like Leona, like Miss Leona is fabulous character. Seems like I want to go to her house and eat all the foods, you know. But like Rue herself, just not the best character, and I don't know if she's supposed to be written as this like very annoying character, but like she definitely gives off that energy and I am not here for it. So all right, so I just finished reading Wings of Ebony, and I have to say I like the way how the book ended. I do think that Rue is still very frustrating to me as a character, so I'm giving this book like 3 stars or something, because I do think there's some really good messages in here, and I just liked how everything concluded with the general and with some of the other characters. There's definitely a sequel, because the way how the book ended is there's definitely a cliffhanger of some sort, but like I said already, I don't think I'm going to continue on with the series because Rue is just such an aggravating character to read about. So anyways, that's my thoughts about that book before I like just ramble again. Now we'll pick up This Poison Heart by Kaylin Bayron. This is a book about a girl who has a magic, a gift where a single touch she can grow plants from tiny seeds to rich blooms. And when her aunt dies, she wills her a dilapidated estate in rural New York, and she goes there with her parents, hoping that surrounded by plants and flowers she will finally learn to control her gift. But the thing is, their home is sinister in ways they never expected. It comes with a mysterious set of instructions, a walled garden filled with the deadliest botanicals in the world, and generation of secrets. There's more to Bree's sudden inheritance than she can have imagined, and she's determined to uncover it. About this enchanting story about a young woman with the power to conquer the dark forces descending around her. I'm really excited for it. I know I came into it pretty skeptically just because I don't like Cinderella's Dead, but this is a new series, so I am curious to give it another shot and see how this goes. But yeah, that's kind of my next reading plans for now. And I have the Owl Crate edition. I don't know if I told you guys that, and look how pretty it is. So it has this first of all, and it has this gorgeous artwork, so, and it's also signed, so that's really cool. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for this book, and we'll see how this goes. But I also like the cover. I don't know if I told you guys that, but I think this cover is stunning. So I have been reading for the past like 2 hours. I feel like probably not, actually it's only like 1:30, and actually maybe about 2 hours. I am now on page 176, so I'm about halfway through with this book. I'm actually really enjoying it. It's a very fast read. The writing is very straightforward. I like the characters. I like the whole premise. It's basically about this girl, her name is Bree, who ever since she was young she's had this like ability to grow these plants, and wherever she goes, plants will kind of just like be drawn to her. So she's always been very cautious about her ability and trying to learn how to control it, especially because when she got older it felt like her ability was getting out of control. Like plants were just coming towards her all the time, so she really had to like tamp it down, especially because she and her parents lived in New York City. And now suddenly she has this like inheritance from this aunt that she's never met before. She's actually adopted, so she never met her birth mother, didn't know that her birth mother had any family. So suddenly this inheritance is like came out of nowhere. So now she and her parents went up to like upstate New York, and they thought that it would be a good time for her to just, you know, learn how to control her plant magic and, you know, just see what they can do about this place. Plus they've also been struggling financially with their like flower shop, because they have a flower business in New York City, and with all like the price hikes and everything, they just haven't been doing as well. So they were like, you know what, maybe we'll just take a break, we'll go to this inheritance house, see what's up and see what we can do, and plus you can also learn to control your plant magic. And there she finds out that there is a lot more about her family's history, as well as her ability for plants that she like never suspected. And quite early on in the book you also find out that she's not only has this amazing ability to like grow these plants, but she is also immune to like deadly plants, hence why this book is called Poison Heart, because basically she's able to grow and cultivate these like extremely deadly plants. And there's just so much about this book. I'm just really enjoying it so far, because I feel like the richness of the story and the characters and just learning more about like this ability of hers, and as well as just kind of like understanding and finding out the history of her family. I just find the whole thing like super fascinating. The one thing that I would say is a little bit like confusing to me is that she's had these like 2 friends growing up that she used to be very close with, but then after a certain point she just kind of, you know, lost contact with them, or like just not as close. It's just, basically they drifted away, and partly it's because of that. It's because they think she's a little weird, especially with her like plant magic, and she's never told anyone either. So she just always felt like she was suppressing her magic. And then she meets this guy in this middle of nowhere small town, and she's met him for like 2 days, and suddenly she's like, let me show you what I can do. And I'm like, you didn't even want to show people, like your friends that you were close with when you were growing up, that you've known for years, and now you met this guy for 2 days, and like what makes you feel like you can trust this one guy versus people that you've known like your entire life? So that's the only thing that I feel like is a little bit confusing and a little bit weird, because I'm just like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for you to feel like, you know, like you can trust someone when you barely know the person. So what I was gonna say for this book is really fascinating so far. I cannot wait to see like more about this house and her like dead relatives, because at this point like her birth mother actually passed away many years ago, and obviously her aunt, you know, her birth aunt, like passed away as well, because that's why she inherited this estate. So I'm really curious to find out more about like the history, as well as like why exactly are they growing this like massive like poison garden, and like things that they're doing there. It's just a little bit odd. Super fascinating, don't get me wrong. It's just a little bit like I want to know why, you know. So I'm definitely digging deeper into the story to find out why, and yeah, we'll see. But I'm definitely interested, and I feel like there's definitely like a romance blooming with this new character that just showed up. So I'm curious to see like how that pans out, because like she's shown up like twice now, and one time was more of like they saw her and didn't say anything, and now they've actually had a real conversation. It seems like this girl knows more than she's let on with her like hints and stuff. So I'm curious to know exactly like what she knows and how much she knows, and like see this relationship blossom. So we'll see how this book goes. Hey guys, it is now Sunday morning, so good morning everyone. But I thought I updated you guys on my reading after the last update, but apparently not. So I have quite a bit of updates now. The first one over here is this Poison Heart. I actually managed to finish it yesterday, right before we went out to the movies, and I'll talk about the movies in a bit. But I really enjoyed this book. This book was 4 stars. I finished it and immediately went on Amazon and bought the sequel, because I was like, I kind of need to know what happens next. And I am just super interested in the story and the characters, and how the book ended is just such a huge cliffhanger, because suddenly you introduce these new characters that you're just like, you've heard so much about, but you never met them. And so I was just like, what's gonna happen next? I need to know. So it's coming on Monday. I need to know if I need to go and read that ASAP. And then after that, I did not read anymore. But I did read a little bit this morning when I woke up. So now I'm reading The Devouring Gray. I'm on page 20. So definitely not a ton of progress made. I only read a little bit when I was eating my breakfast, but right off the bat, it's engaging. I'm interested in the characters. I'm interested in the story. I don't remember what happened in this book, or like what this book is about. I just know there's something about like the Grey that terrorizes this small town, and then there are these like founding families, and the Saunders family is one that hasn't been around for a while. I want to say there's like 4 founding families, and they are like the 4th one, and I feel like each founding family has like a different skill set, like a magical skill set to basically like take down the Grey, or like prevent the Grey from spreading, something like that. So not much has happened. We only been introduced to 2 characters for the most part, Justin and Violet. So we'll see how this goes, but I'm intrigued. I definitely remember enjoying this book a lot when I read it a couple years ago, so definitely can't wait to see like how this book continues. But I'm excited for this, and that's all I have right now in terms of my reading. But I did manage to watch Cocaine Bear as well as Ant-Man yesterday. Cocaine Bear was actually such a fun movie. Apparently it's doing better than Ant-Man in like the box office or something, or so I've heard. I don't know, but it was really interesting. Like it was fun, it was entertaining. Like it actually had more like entertaining plot lines compared to Ant-Man, because Ant-Man I feel like, yeah, it's entertaining, but it's very much like it follows a pattern, you know what I mean? So there wasn't anything that was like, oh my gosh, shocking for the most part. But Cocaine Bear was just like a breath of fresh air, because it was never done before, or at least I've never seen anything like that before. So I really enjoyed it. Ant-Man I really enjoyed too. It's just it's very different vibes. One's like a superhero movie, one is like a supposed to be like a thrills and chills type of movie, mostly because there's a lot of like gore and things in it, because it's literally about this bear who ends up sniffing cocaine and becomes addicted to it and lashes out at everyone and starts attacking people to get cocaine. So that's like the whole premise of it. It's really interesting. It was just fun. Like if you're into that kind of movies like that, definitely have at it. It was a fun time. Ant-Man was great too. You definitely need to watch this one to watch future movies, because I think this one introduced like very big characters that will set them up for future films. So highly recommend this one as well if you're a Marvel fan and want to continue watching on the series. Like this is not one that you can just miss. But personally, for most part, I feel like for me, I think all the movies have to be watched because they're all like related to each other somehow. So anyways, I will continue reading and I will check back in later. All right, so just doing a quick update since I'm back in my apartment and I'm actually getting ready for bed soon, and I'm going to read for a little bit. At least that's the plan. But I do want to update you guys before I get ready for bed, and then I'll do my full wrap up tomorrow morning. But I am still reading Devouring Grey. I'm about 194 pages in, so about a little more than halfway through. Honestly, I'm really enjoying it. It's very fast paced, it's very engaging. I love the characters. Very just like a very immersive book so far, so I'm definitely intrigued and I want to continue on reading. So I'm gonna try to read this more tonight and then hopefully I finish it. But I just want to let you guys know kind of like what I've been doing today, because honestly today has just been, I don't know, like a little up and down in terms of my emotional state, so like my mental state. So I've just been kind of tired and didn't really read a lot except for like this morning a little bit, and then after that I was just not really in the mood. I was watching some shows and doing other things. So I'm going to try to read again tonight, read a couple of chapters, maybe finish the book. I don't think I'm finishing the book, but we'll see. Such a good book so far. Like I definitely want to continue on the series for now, unless something crazy happens the rest of the book that I'm just like, no, not interested. But as of right now, I think I'm tempted to go purchase a copy of the sequel just so I can just have it ready, and then I guess I'll be reading the sequel of Poison Heart as well as sequel for this, you know, as I start off my work week. So that will be fun. I am here to end the vlog now. Excuse the lighting, excuse how I look like a mess right now. It's been one of those days and the lighting is not the greatest because it's pouring outside, so no real natural light coming in. But I just want to update you guys on my reading as well as do a surprise unboxing. So I didn't really get to read too much last night. I read a couple chapters, but I did manage to finish the book today. I really enjoyed it. I feel like usually when I read a book and I come back to it years later, it doesn't always hold up, and this book definitely held up. I was very invested throughout the entire story. Definitely a solid 4-star. I really enjoyed the twists and turns and just uncovering everything that was happening. I wasn't right in my kind of like theory, but I wasn't entirely off either. There were like some parts of it that was accurate, some parts that weren't. Obviously I'm not going to go into it because spoilers, but I cannot wait for the sequel. I already ordered it, so hopefully it comes tomorrow and I can just dive right into it. But I really enjoyed it. I just love reading all the characters, and I'm really curious to now know more about Harper, especially at the end, like what happened to her and what she's going to do next. And if, I don't know, I'm curious. I'm super curious to find out what's going to happen, especially to her and Violet. Like those are the two main characters I'm most intrigued by. Also Isaac too, but mostly because of this other character that just came back and kind of like his relationship with this person. So very curious there. But yeah, definitely can't wait. But yeah, quick wrap up on my reading. This book I gave 4 stars. I also managed to finish this Poison Heart, which I also gave 4 stars. And then I also finished reading Wings of Ebony, which I gave 3 stars. It's definitely not the worst book, but like out of the books I read this weekend, by far the book I like least. These 2 books were like surprisingly, or this book especially was a surprisingly good read, because like I said already, I just didn't really have much of expectations going into it. Can't wait to read the sequel. It should be coming today, so I'm hoping to pick it up tonight once I get back. But I want to do the unboxing. So I am an Unplugged book box rep. I will include all information here as well as down below. You can use the code to get an extra 5% off. But let's go on with the unboxing. So I have the box over there, and because of their green initiative, they have all of their, like, instead of having a regular card with all the spoilers, it's now digital. So everything's on here, and I'm just gonna go through each item as I see, and then some information that I see from the spoiler site. The first item that I see is this amazing looking blanket. I'm actually really excited for this because I haven't had a blanket in forever, and this looks very cozy. If you guys can see it, it's very unique because it's actually a blanket that goes from like here to there versus from like here or here, so that's really freaking cool. But this is a blanket that is inspired by, so JK, this is not a blanket, this is in fact a poncho, and it goes like this, but it can also be used as a blanket. Wait, that's actually really freaking cool. Look at this. Anyways, so this is inspired by, let's see, it's just inspired by a library, which is amazing. It has several snaps apparently, so you can use it, okay, so different places to keep yourself cool for like different, I guess, different sizes and how you want to wear it. But this one works perfectly for me, so I'll be keeping this on right now because it is kind of chilly. Moving on to the next item. Okay, so I see this item over here and it looks like it is some sort of facial oil. This says that it was inspired by the Wrath and the Dawn, and see how it smells. It doesn't smell very strong. It says it's supposed to be like oranges, but I don't smell oranges. Anyways, this is pretty cool. I don't really have any facial oils, so it looks very stunning. All right, and then next item I have is this. This is a Tangled shampoo bar. It's inspired by Tangle. This one actually has a stronger scent compared to the facial oil, so this one smells like kind of floral-like. Next item I have over here is this stunning candle. It says Star-Crossed Lovers, and this is inspired by Romeo and Juliet. Oh, this smells so good. This is the inside. Oh, this is definitely my favorite item so far. Really like this one. Actually, no, this is my favorite item so far. And I have this box for this next item. Let's see. I think this is the wind chime. So it looks like this. And it's inspired by Alice in Wonderland. It's the little cat. In the back, it says, "We're all mad here." That is really freaking cute. And the last item I have over here is the actual book, which is Hunterland by Dana Clare. I've never heard of this book before, but it says, "When monsters are real, love is a myth." It says, "Grab your stakes and your rock salt. Monster hunting class is in session." Apparently this follows a person called Liam Hunter, who has warded off hungry vampires, slayed monstrous beasts, and put agonized spirits to rest since he could hold a stake. When trouble comes through the Hunterland message board, alerting them that nurses are dying at high schools across Wisconsin in a string of fishy suicides, the Hunter family hits the road to save the day. The trail leads to Falkville Falls, where Liam clashes with Olivia Davis, whose maddening family seems inexplicably embroiled in this haunting mess. She has always mothered her little sister Pepper, but when the Hunter family opens her eyes to the hidden underworld of real monsters prowling the dark, she realizes she can't protect Pepper from this newest threat by herself. Can the two families work together to uncover who or what is responsible for the next murder, or will this vicious death cycle have no end? And the edges are also really stunning. Let me just open this so you guys can see it clearly. So this is the edges. You guys can see this stenciled pattern, stunning. And the inside looks like this. And this part as well. This is actually really pretty. Look at this. Also, my cat Joba decided to make an appearance over here. So anyways, that's everything in this unboxing. I think my favorite item in here would probably be this poncho for sure, because this is like a blanket and it's honestly really freaking soft. And then this candle. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna say for this unboxing as well as for this reading vlog. Let me know down below if you have read any of the books that I read during this weekend. What did you guys think about them if you have? And then in terms of my subscription box, which item looked the coolest? Which is your favorite? But as always, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I would like to have on my channel, and if you'd like to see more content of me, please don't hesitate to subscribe down below, as well as hit the notification bell. And as always, please follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.